Welcome to the June 21st, 2023 City Commission meeting. And for those of you that follow the astrological signs, it is the solstice today, which means it's going to be the longest day of the year. And I forgot to look to see when sunset is tonight, but I think it's late, so that's exciting. The only bad thing about it is now the days are going to start getting.
Mayor, I would say that anytime I'm in this room, it's the longest day of the year.
Whatever you want to, whatever floats your boat, Commissioner Morrow. That's what happens. Several have pointed it out to me today, so I said I would talk about it. All right, so let's do the roll call.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Here.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Here.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Present. Would you please stand and join me in the flag salute? And if you don't feel like doing it, it's just fine. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I got a hard copy. Yeah, I got it. Okay, all right. On tonight's agenda, we have a proclamation acknowledging Pride Month, and I'd like to ask Commissioner Smith to please read it.
And I'm going to do my best I can to read this, but I'm emotional tonight about it, and I'm going to read it as best I can.
That's all we can.
All right. Whereas all human beings, well, I'll see already. Let me think for a second. This year's hitting me harder than last year. All right. Whereas all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, and this nation was founded on the principle that every individual have infinite dignity and worth, and where the members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community have bravely fought to live openly and authentically and to celebrate who they are and who they love, and where because the acts of courage by millions who came out and spoke out to demand justice, and by those who quietly toiled and pushed for progress, our country has made great strides in recognizing what those brave individuals long knew to be true in their hearts, that no person should be judged by anything but the content of their character. And whereas the efforts and achievements of LGBTQ plus community have allowed all to enjoy greater dignity, freedom, justice, and equity, and whereas acknowledgement and education remain essential to help eliminate prejudice wherever it may exist, and where the City of Oregon City is unequivocally committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBT plus Q people in our diverse community, and whereas LGBTQ plus individuals have made an immeasurable contributions to the cultural, civic, and economic success of our country, and where recognizing, celebrating, and standing with LGBTQ plus community provides an opportunity for Oregon City residents to strengthen their alliance, build acceptance, advance equal rights, and create a better and more inclusive community. That's your part.
Now, therefore, I, Mayor Denise C. McGriff, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as Pride Month and call upon the people of Oregon City to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. In witness thereof, I will set my hand this 21st day of June 2023. We generally don't do this, but in celebration of this particular proclamation, I was just wondering if anyone would like to say something briefly to the commission about this or this related topic, I would be happy to entertain them right now if you'd like to say something. Don't be shy. Yeah, just come on up you have to come up, so. Sometimes those are the best.
Oh, hello, everybody. I'm Martha Spires. I live in Oregon City. And I just want to say thank you so much for that proclamation, especially this year. Especially given what's going on with the Pride event planned on Saturday and just the level of threats and danger people are living under. Rocky, thank you very much for your bravery and representing us all.
Thank you. I also know a couple of people have asked me for copies of the proclamation. Martha, I'll get one to you. And if anybody else wants one, just let Jacob know and we'll make sure we get that to you. There'll be one for the library, of course, as we usually do. Wesley, did you want to say something? Basically, we have like 3 minutes, so.
My name is Wesley, and Wesley Hansen, and I was born and raised here in Oregon City. I used to get chased, beat up, thrown in lockers. I've been called names by not just kids or anything in this, or by not just kids, but adults in this community. It ran me away from Oregon City many years ago, and it brought me back here with my family and everything else. And to hear that my city's finally standing up and it means something, because I don't want what I had to go through when I was a kid in this city to ever happen to any other kid. I hope it never happens, and I hope that you guys, the city, the school district, and everyone stands up for the kids and everyone else in this community. And that means a lot for that proclamation, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Smith.
I'm not going to say much because I don't think I can get through it. There's a lot going on in this town in regards to this event that is planned for Saturday night. And just stay tuned for new details about that. But I want to acknowledge Wesley. We went to school together. I've thought this town should have a Pride event for a long time, as other people have. The Juneteenth celebration in this community has been an amazing event. And the community asks for this city to think about starting to support a Pride event at some point. But what Wes has gone through in the last month, planning what should be a simple event, has been a nightmare. And it's not over. And he's still working. And a lot of people in this town are still working to have this event happen Saturday or whenever it happens. And I want to thank him for taking that risk to step up and do it. I've lived in this town my whole life, and I dealt with some of the same problems that Wes did. And we still will. But that doesn't mean we don't move forward and continue to plan and support. And so anyway, stay tuned to some news. But I want to thank you for not giving up and recognize him for that, so thank you.
like to, at this time, and like I said, if you want a copy of it, just let Jacob know or let me know, and we'll make sure you get one. I'd like to call up while we're getting the staff report, my friend and neighbor, Mr. Henry McEnroth, who's the chair of the Transportation Advisory Committee. Do you have a staff report, or is it pretty self-explanatory? Staff. William, you're okay. Hang on just a second, Henry. Mike Berman, come on up. Citizen comments. Sorry, I skipped over. I went to presentations.
Oh, gotcha. I've never been in this building yet. I went to grade school on this property. Is this okay to just talk? Is it public comments about anything?
Unless it's on the agenda.
Well, first of all, I'll make a quick public comment. My uncle went to Westland High School, and he just passed away this month at 71. And he tried marriage, and then in the early 70s, he came out, and it was a very difficult time in the early 70s. He was in the early rendition of the Portland Gaymen's Choir. He became very involved in drama and music, and I kind of had a post on my Facebook page, but growing up in Oregon City, I think I was really blessed to have an uncle that showed me a bigger perspective and a little bit of maybe a kinder, more open-minded person I became from having an uncle who became loud and proud in the 70s, and his entire career was in the arts and theater, and I just am reflecting quickly on my own personal experience with it. And now that I work in our school district as a long-term sub, and the environment, I think really, and it's kind of a kudos to the middle school that I'm at least, I see a lot of support. Not all the time, but it's way better than it was. And so kudos to this parade that we have, and I'll be there. I think that's all I'm going to say, because I can save the rest for maybe another meeting.
Okay, thank you, Michael. William? Hi again.
Third time's a charm.
This is item number 4, so.
Got it, yeah. Good evening, Commission. My name is William Gifford. I live in Oregon City. Just briefly, I wanted to give some kudos for the Juneteenth celebration. I want to thank Mr. Williams for doing a fine job, for kicking the thing off, and for Denise and for Rocky for showing up. And it was a really fine presentation. I wasn't able to attend, but I watched the whole thing later. Joyce was giving me a blow-by-blow as to what I couldn't see on the screen, but I thought they did a good job recording it, and I'm very proud of our city for pulling that off.
Thank you. Jim?
James Nacito, Oregon City. Thank you, Mayor. So I want to follow up from the Urban Renewal Commission meeting. So it's very clear that the Urban Renewal Commission is going to move forward in challenging Section 59 of the Charter to extinguish our right to vote on urban renewal. So I would ask you, I guess it's just hypothetical, who defends our charter? Did this commission intervene in the Williams lawsuit to defend our charter? Should it just be on Mr. and Mrs. Williams to defend Section 59? You all took an oath of office. Does that oath, if not legally, at least morally, impose upon you a duty the people who elected you to defend the Oregon City Charter when the Urban Renewal Agency is attacking the Oregon City Charter. I just leave that for you to consider. And I would like to express another opinion and some concern regarding who I see is the law firm attacking our charter, Bateman, Seidel, Minor, Blum, Granchelis, and Graham, on this defendant's corrected First Amendment answer and affirmative defenses. We have, as attorneys of record, working to extinguish Section 59 of the Charter, Mr. William Kabizman and Ms. Carrie Richter, who took an oath of office as our city attorney and as our deputy city attorney. Is there not a conflict of interest in Mr. Kabizman attacking our city charter? Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is not a question for this particular meeting, but is a question we could consider at a later point in time. Is that okay with you, Mr. Conkle? Mr. Kleisman?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat what you said? I was sort of reacting to being accused of certain things, so I'm not certain I heard your question.
I just said we've been asked a question, and I think, unfortunately or fortunately, since it is a matter of litigation, I'm not prepared to be having that discussion in front of the city commission at this particular time, but that we could have a discussion about it in an executive session, because it does involve litigation. And it's not really fair to ask us that question without further discussion.
I think that's appropriate, your suggested course.
Well, I certainly don't want to have that discussion tonight.
That's what I was saying. We don't want to have that discussion tonight.
I'm not sure it's a discussion for us at any time, but
It may
that's
or
another,
may not be.
that's
I just
another
don't.
topic.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I would agree, and I would also note that equally as important as our oath to the Oregon City Charter is our oath to the Constitution of the State of Oregon and the Constitution of the United States. And when a court has several times affirmed what the Constitution of the State of Oregon says, it's also our duty to stand behind that.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I remember I asked Mr. Kabizman a question about the fact that because we were the first city here, did we have any special rights? But I do recall you referred me to a section, and I read it. It basically said that when the state of Oregon came into being, Oregon City ceded some of its rights to the benefit of the state. So I answered. You helped me answer my question. So. As much as I didn't want it to be the answer, but, because I do like to brag about the fact that we're the first city, and we're very cool in that regard, so. But we have home rule rights, and some of them we have ceded to the state of Oregon, so. Mr. Buss, you're next up. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who's testified. Mr. Gifford is gone, but I'll let him know in his thanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. With your permission, I'd like to go back to the Pride Month proclamation topic. I missed my opportunity to make comment at that time.
By the way, it's Ms. Mayor.
Yes. So
I had to say that, sorry.
after Wesley presented a few minutes ago, I spoke with them in the lobby and got a little more information about what was alluded to about this weekend's Pride festivities. And it sounds like they're on the rocks because of lack of a venue. And I was given permission to share that information from Wesley, and I just wanted to urge this commission to help in any way possible with city facilities. For example, parks, end of the Oregon Trail would be a perfect location for this type of event. Oregon City needs this event. It's been years in the making. I know folks, myself included, that have participated in kind of surreptitious little Pride events private ones throughout town, but there's never been a public one where everyone is invited to attend and everyone is celebrated. And my understanding from talking with Wesley is there might be a venue available for sometime in July, but July is not Pride Month. The city has more facilities available than any other property owner in town, and so I would just urge the commission to support staff if they're able to help find a venue for this weekend as planned, or at least sometime in the month of June. So, thank you.
Much appreciated. Appreciate the support. All right, now we can get back to item number 5, which is a presentation from the Transportation Advisory Committee. Mr. McEnroe is going to be here speaking. Can you hear me, Henry? Please come forward. I don't hear it. Please come forward, Henry. We have the police officers here to assist if you need help. Is there a staff report by Public Works, or do we need to have a staff report?
I'm Henry McEnroe. I'm the Vice Chair of the Oregon City Transportation Advisory Committee, and I'm here in support of the Chair, who is off tonight because he has a rather critical real-life crisis to handle. And this is our annual report for what we did last year. And I know you all are busy. I know you all have read through this and are really up to date on what it contains. But for a brief summary, we have met 8 times over the year. We have a full complement of members currently. We participate in activities such as putting out letters of support for applications for funds for other agencies. We do listen to all public comments. I quite urge anybody who has a traffic-related issue to come to the advisory committee first if they can, because we have a rather informal discussion method of talking about it, and sometimes we can get a solution. Sometimes we can't, but and that kind of leads me up to the idea that we did have that kind of a discussion on the, the Holcomb Boulevard, Moella Avenue survey, Park Place, and on the Clackamas County South End Road traffic detour. We brainstormed actually, and it was brought up that some temporary speed cushions could be installed out there. It turns out that that was successful enough that there have been brought up and are going to be stored, and then when we have a speed hump application come in, we can use those to test out the location, see if it's appropriate, see if it actually works before going out and doing real asphalt work, which is, hard to remove if we're wrong. We've also had some speed studies that have been done through various areas. Sometimes it's speeding, Sometimes it's outliers, ones who go by at 6:30 in the evening when there's nobody else really out there and they're doing 45 and a 25. Most of the time it's 27 and a 25. But in all, we do the full level public input with staff so that when the time comes to have the formal input, staff has a better understanding of what the problem is and a possible solution for it. So we intend to continue this work, and we do want to say that we try to keep the goals of our committee meshed well with your commission goals in that we both want to make the public safety, public concerns dealt with, and we want a better place to live. Well, thank you.
I wanted to suggest an addition to your work program. We now have a new state law, and Mr. Lewis has brought this to us, but it hasn't been fully vetted yet. I would like to see the committee take up a recommendation to us on allowing Oregon City to set its own speed limits. I'm going back to all the comments I've been getting over the last 6 months about Lynn Avenue again. And I remember when we had that initial discussion as a community, and state said, oh, it's going to be this, and we all said no, we thought it needed to be lower. We had no option. I know there's a process. And then the other thing was, not necessarily on your work plan, but have you had any further feedback from the residents on Barker Avenue now the South End Road is reopened?
I would have to refer those to staff because they're the ones that are truly deal with it, as we have no authorization to direct them.
Well, I'm just suggesting that you can, I'm putting it out there so that it's aware, that you're aware of it. I'd really be interested in having your guys' recommendation on whether that's something we could try to do. I know what, he gave us the requirements, and I still think we need to have a discussion about it, but I'd like to see what TAC says. So, thank you. All right. Another year down for the Transportation Advisory Committee. So we have our next item is 6 and 7, so adoption of the agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda that anybody wants to pull, or do we have a motion? I read those minutes on items 7J, K, and L. It was like a little flashback going on right there.
For sure.
But thank you for sleuthing those out. We got to get those done.
Give credit to Angelique. She's been doing the work on that.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the consent agenda and approve it as submitted. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. So item number 8, we have a public hearing tonight on Resolution 2313, Supplemental Budget for 2021-23 Biennium. And it's the lovely and delightful Mr. Matt Zook.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Matt Zook, Finance Director, and tonight, for you, a microphone that just turned off. To continue, we have before you a supplemental budget. As is reported in the staff report, the budget is done every 2 years, and this original budget was adopted on June 2nd, 2021. This is the 5th budget amendment that we are presenting and last for this current biennium. And in the staff report, there's a bullet point list of basically 8 of the 8 reasons for the supplemental budget. And I'll just run through them real quick for your edification. The first bullet point, increasing the budget for GASB 96, which is a subscription-based IT arrangements. That is 100% an accounting standard requirement. It's basically reclassifications and how the Government Accounting Standards Board wants us to account for these type of arrangements. And these are things like software in the cloud. We don't actually buy the software, but we're buying a service. So the second and third bullet points, increasing pass-through system development revenue. When we present the budget, we have a pretty high level estimate as to what development's going to happen in the year. In this current biennium, development revenue was higher than expected, and so because we passed this through to other entities like Water Environmental Services and South Fork Water Board, we have to adjust the expense as well. So, fourth bullet point down, you'll recall earlier in this calendar year, the Code Enforcement Department replaced parking kiosks downtown, and there was the desire of the commission to buy more than what they'd requested. So this covers the additional, I think it was 6 or 8. Fifth bullet point down is recognition of a software purchase that was funded by a federal grant. So that's essentially, money coming in, money coming out, $150,000 there. Sixth bullet point is to increase the park's additional costs for cemetery bathroom project. And I want to add to that description was a little bit too broad in the staff report. The cemetery bathroom project was originally planned for $350,000, and it ended up, being about $700,000. And so 350 of the 500,000, what's labeled in the staff report as cemetery bathroom, is for the bathroom. There are two other really sub projects that are part of this request. Is the mausoleum roof and the TSW dog park. Those were two other items that were not anticipated in the budget and had overruns. The seventh bullet point is to increase the water budget for land purchase and projects. Basically, we had put the $5.6 million of ARPA revenue into the water budget from the beginning, but it was put into contingency until such time as we knew more specifically what we're going to be doing. So there was some land purchase, as you're aware, for the Henry C. Future use of a reservoir, Henry C. Reservoir, and then also other projects that are well underway. So final bullet point is recognition of ARPA funding, and that was originally in the budget. This is more just a budget restructuring, because rather than spending it directly on projects throughout that we delineated in the staff report, the simplest way that we spent the ARPA money was to spend that on public safety salaries. And that was all part of an earlier report, but we needed to adjust the budget to recategorize the revenue appropriately in each fund. So that is the eighth bullet point. So that's the detail. There's also in the resolution an exhibit, or let's see, what do we call that? Exhibit A, budget adjustment summary attached to the resolution 2313. Tonight we're asking that the commission approve resolution 2313 as is. There are other options to provide edits to that or deny the resolution. That's my staff report.
Okay. So before I ask for any questions, I will open the public hearing, and it looks like the overwhelming crowd is here to give testimony on that. So I'll go ahead and, do you have any questions for Mr. Zook before I close the public hearing? So seeing none, we will close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number 23-13, supplemental budget for the 21-23 biennium.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, let's
Thank you.
move to general business. Item number 9, so resolution 2316, I think that's you too, or no, it's Patty. Nelson from our Public Works Department. So resolution of the City of Oregon City authorizing full faith and credit borrowing for water systems improvement, my favorite new acronym, WIFIA, which I got to talk a lot about at the AWAA conference.
That's right. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We're here tonight before you to ask for adoption of a resolution that'll give us the ability to enter into our WIFIA loan that we've been talking about for the last year. So just a really quick overview. I've got a brief background for the main audience. We'll go over the WIFIA projects, the financing plan that we have, and then Resolution 2616. This has been a team effort with Mr. Zook, so appreciate all the help. So just to highlight our water improvement capital plans, we had a master plan that was adopted and amended in 2021. We had $81 million of capital improvements. And I wanted to highlight this for the general audience, because we haven't been funding our water improvements to the level that we've really needed. We end up with a large amount of improvements, big improvements that are needed in the next 5 years. So that's why this borrowing is so important. What the council did is we had a rate study that was done that looked at our water rates and SDCs to fund the capital plan. The commission passed our water SDCs. Our increases were adopted in July 1. The other element of funding for water improvements is our water rates. Our rate studies recommended using water rates increase above the 3% limit and also borrowing debt. We went to the voters, and the ballot measure for borrowing was approved, but our rate increase was not. So what was approved was allowing us to borrow up to $38 million and repayment through our water system revenues, and allowed us to pledge our full faith and credit for those terms. So our federal funding came into play. One of the things that I think we were fortunate in is we knew about the WIFIA opportunity, the Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act. We went ahead and were proactive and submitted a letter of interest. That's the LOI that's noted there in June. That was ahead of the election. We did that knowing that we would get notification whether or not we were invited in fall, and hoping things would line up, which they did. So that actually, was very fortunate for us. What the loan provides is a $20 million minimum package. So you have to come in with a project suite of $20 million. 49% of that can be financed through the loan, 51% is city match. We were invited to apply in October. What makes us favorable is that there are flexible repayment plans, loan repayments up to 35 years, and I think one of the things that really worked in our favor was being able to delay payments until after construction, actually 5 years after. So the WIFIA loan, there was a big question whether or not we could actually swing the loan because we don't have a rate increases. So do we have enough revenue to actually pay the debt payments? We looked at that with 51% match. We also had increased project cost. Fortunate, I think this is another fortunate thing. With ARPA dollars, the city dedicated $5.6 million towards water. And so that gave us enough money to be able to meet our matching. So this is a very busy slide, I apologize, but it's just the loan process. It's been, I think I told Commissioner O'Donnell that been busy. This has been quite a process and quite a lift for the last few months. So we are at the highlighted portion, which is the asking for authorization to enter into the loan for the resolution. But what we've been doing since EPA has notified us that we can apply for the loan and the loan has been accepted is we've been working through financial due diligence. We have a team working on that, technical due diligence, environmental reviews. Part of that is working with the tribes, loan term sheets that we've been working through, and loan agreement, which we just recently finalized. So up ahead, we'll be looking at finalizing loan documents over the next month, and closing is scheduled for July 20th. Projects that are being funded, this is referred to through WIFIA as the WIFIA ID number. I have it there, but it's called the Oregon Water Rehabilitation Resiliency Improvement Projects. It's trying to capture everything that we're doing with these projects. So one of the first projects is the SCADA isolation project and I'll get to that in a minute to describe that. We have the second project that is the pipe rehabilitation program. That's the portion of work that we've been focusing on with our limited revenues. That's really all we've been able to do is to work on a rehabilitation. This WIFIA program will complete 5 years of that. And then we're also improving our upper system transmission improvements. Again, we have issues filling our reservoirs, so this will resolve that, allow us to pump our Mountain View pump station at its design capacity, fill our reservoirs more quickly, and replace an outdated, undersized pump station, the Fairway Downs pump station. So the SCADA isolation project is a small project. One of the reasons it was thrown in last minute is when we built our public works facility, there was an element of separating our SCADA system, which is, and I'm not even going to be able to say, define it, but it's basically the brains that operate kind of our water system, wastewater system. So they were looking to install a firewall, and that was value engineered out. So this was an attempt to add that in, be able to complete that work. As part of the review for WIFIA, they were looking for cybersecurity. They were also looking what's called a shovel-ready project, so this is easy to implement. So that played into our evaluation of being one of the 4 agencies that were selected in Oregon. The second project is the rehabilitation project. We have $7 million dedicated for that program. Again, that's over 5 years. Main Street is actually under construction. That's part of the WIFIA program. So we're actually able to move forward with projects as we're proceeding and working through the loan details. And we have been working with the tribes on that project as well. Project 3 is our upper system transmission improvements. We have a number of elements in there. The first project that's coming out is in Malala Avenue. So that's from our Mountain View pump station to just crossing Beaver Creek. So I'll be popular. There's a second project, which is a tail end right near Myers Road. And then we have a main project that's going to be out at Henrici Pump Station. We'll be building a new transmission main, converting the existing transmission main into a distribution. It'll provide service to the Oregon City Golf Course area, as well as the existing Fairway Downs area, and a new pump station. So I think Matt and I decided we needed to make sure we emphasize it's not just us. There's a whole team of people that have been working on this. John is our Public Works Director and Dana is our City Engineer, have been supporting us. The main core team has been myself as kind of the cat corraller, or I don't know, the ringleader, I don't know, tracking down everybody. And then we have finance, which Matt obviously has been a key point person, but we also have Piper Sandler as a consultant working with us. For legal, we've been working with Bill, but we also have Golgan, is it Uger, as our bond counsel. And then for technical lead, it's been myself as well as the environmental, so. The financing plan, and I don't know if you want to speak to this, do you want me to just keep rolling? So we are pledging our full faith and credit, as was approved in the ballot measure. We'll be repaying the loan through water revenues. The total project package is $33 million that's been authorized. The loan amount will be $16 million. City match $17 million, and it's financed over a 35-year term. One of the questions that's what WIFIA allows. One of the questions we asked for and we confirmed is that the city has the ability to pay that off earlier if we wish and can, and so that's built into the loan. This is just looking at the funding sources. So again, I think it's a repeat, but we have $16.3 million on the loan and then $17 million for the matching. I presented this to EPA and they found this interesting, and I thought it would be good for you to see what is the impact of getting this federal money. So, you know, if we looked at the average biennium expenses for our water fund, 15.6 million, 3.5 million on average is dedicated towards capital. Most of our revenue goes towards operating our system. So we have very little to actually make major improvements. With this federal funding, this biennium budget that we're just moving forward with, we have 9.7 million in capital improvements. That's a substantial increase. It allows us to do some very expensive large projects and get those done. So it's making a huge difference. So tonight we have a resolution before you asking us to authorize full faith and credit borrowing for water system improvements. I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 23-16, a resolution of the City of Oregon, authorizing full faith and credit borrowing for water system improvements.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion
So
passes.
motion carries. Thank you, Patty, and thank you, finance staff and fearless leader. 9B, second reading of ordinance 23-1007, designating the Ermatinger House as a park under the Oregon City Charter, Chapter 10. I don't think there should be any discussion. Let's have a motion.
Move to approve second reading of ordinance number 23-1007.
Ordinance number 23-10007, an ordinance of the City of Oregon City designating the property known as the Ermatinger House as a park under Oregon City Charter, Chapter 10.
Dumb question, Joe, are we supposed to be using the full name of it? Francis Ermatinger House, or is it Ermating, okay, all right, just checking. All right, let's have roll call.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, finally, now is this going to take 30 days for it to go into effect?
Correct.
Because it wasn't an emergency, so, okay. Well, it could have been. All right, we have communications.
I have no updates tonight, thank you.
I'm just wondering under communications, since it is timely, everybody knows that we've had a problem with the Department of Motor Vehicles. There have been a number of articles in the paper about who you contact in terms of the 3 credit rating agencies to make sure that people freeze their credit or whatever. So I just want to make sure people pay attention to that. Don't just let it go. You may never have anything happen, or you may have something happen. Are you not? You're nodding back there, Michael? Yep. So, communications commissioners.
I'll just say that I attended a bunch of events this weekend, as I think the mayor did. So there was a Juneteenth celebration, the Weddings Through the Century, that as a lot of the heritage houses were doing events this weekend. I made it to Stevens Crawford and the Ermatinger House. So some of those houses still have displays. The Ermatinger House wedding dress display is pretty amazing. So make sure you visit our newest park and check those out. I guess,
Yes.
maybe the exhibit will be done by the
30
time that
days,
it's an
yes.
official
Yeah,
park, but
We'll have to do
anyway, you
something.
can still visit it.
Yes, they
Yeah.
can still visit, yes. Mr. Mitchell? Tomorrow, anything new going on with our friends at C4 or our friends at Oregon Department of Transportation?
Nothing you'd be surprised about.
Well, the public might be surprised. I will say this, I did make it across the bridge at 2:25 before the road shut down, because I had to get home.
But we did receive money from the legislature. If the city manager wanted to talk about that real quick.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yep. He's going,
Can I-
what?
Hold on, I gotta get there.
He's getting there.
So I haven't seen all the specifics of it yet, but I do want to thank the mayor and Commissioner Morrow for forwarding the information. We worked with Representative Hartman. She and her staff asked for 4 projects of importance in Oregon City that potentially could be funded through the state legislature at this biennium. We identified 213 and Redland Road intersection improvements. We identified the acceleration lane from Beaver Creek onto 213 northbound. We identified the Henrici Reservoir number 2 project, and we identified Main Street streetscape improvements from roughly 10th to 15th. So my understanding is we've been awarded just over $4 million for the Main Street Connective Corridor Project Phase 2. And so still learning the details of that, but that's very exciting news for our community.
I think you are owed some thanks, because she came to us and asked us to put together a short list, and you were able to respond very quickly, and I know that she definitely appreciated that. So, and thank you for helping track that as well. So, and speaking of the Oregon City Westland Bridge. So yes, I don't know whether you have, but I've received a number of communications from citizens basically asking us to do something about the closure from 2:30 until 6:30, and there really isn't a whole heck of a lot we can do. I did reach out to ODOT staff, and at least now they have better traffic control, which they did not have the first day. So I'm hopefully, like I said, I made it across this afternoon at 2:25, and they were already putting the cones out, and traffic was really backed up. So anyway, I just wanted to briefly just talk to you about what just the highlights of the WWA conference, which is American Water Works Association. I went and attended on behalf of the city, and I did attend the public officials training course. Basically, it was 3 days. So the first day was basically understanding the regulatory environment and water supply concerns surrounding public water systems. And I will tell you that I'm grateful I do not live in Florida, Arizona, or Texas. That's a nightmare. The second day in...
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for a lot, yeah. Many other reasons. I'm just talking about the water part.
Yeah, but there's other reasons.
There's other reasons, but I was talking about the water part. So the second day, we dealt with the inner workings of water treatment and piping assets with a focus on management of these assets and how to protect public health and reduce outage risk, including maintenance requirements and utilities. So I'll be actually able to go and talk to John Lewis about some of this stuff now. And then the third day, dealt with sustainable water utilities, so finances, people, supplies, assets. And again, you know, we are very fortunate in the United States and Canada. You can turn on the faucet, but hearing about places like Flint, Michigan, Waterton, Ontario, and the capital of Mississippi, which those people do not have water, and they can't get financing from the state to have decent drinking water. So it was just sad. We talked about the face of climate change, aging infrastructure, tight finances, and making sure that we continue to put resources into upgrading our systems as we go along. And we, you know, I felt very comfortable in saying that we had done that from a city standpoint. Wyatt Parno talked about South Fork. We did talk a little bit about water rights. Some of the other folks and the others who were from other states in my session really had no concept of what water rights were, and, you know, how could we do that? And a lot of them did not have surface water sources, so I'm grateful we have a surface water source instead of groundwater. That's where the Texas-Arizona issue in Florida were coming in. They're pumping out the Everglades. Texas is just taking it from anybody they can grab a hold of. And interesting, and one of the officials that was in the session with me said that people pay for their water through their property tax. And I was just like, what? I said, people in Oregon would not stand for that. That's how they pay for it, and it gets assessed on their property taxes. And I was like, good Lord. Anyway, so the one of the pieces of publication that I got, that I have not, I just got it. It's called Water Basics for Decision Makers. It's that thick, so I will be going through this and reading it, probably making highlights. And I been able to talk to the professor who gave the session. He says if I have any questions, I can let him know. But I just want to thank South Fork Water Board for making the opportunity for me to go. I learned a lot, and I was telling staff that there was some pipe there in the exhibit hall that I could stand up in it, although the sign said do not stand in pipe. So I did not take a photo op inside the pipe, but talked to a lot of people particularly about water pipe leakage. There were a number of vendors there, and I got to talk to them about that, and that was interesting. So thank you for allowing me to go. I want to again thank our staff, not only at the library, but the Oregon City Police Department for helping with the Juneteenth event, and it was another fun event. I'm glad that we were able to do it. I wanted to thank Senator Aaron Woods for giving our keynote, our Youth Advisory Commission members who came and read. We had our usual stalwart, Gavin Blackwell, and, you know, I think under the circumstances, when we've done this before, we were not in budget. We did not have the budget looming over us, and but it still came together. And I think people in the community were very appreciative. We got some nice press in the Oregon City News, and unfortunately, we did not get any press in the Oregonian. So I have a little note off to the editor, basically saying the metro area received Lake Oswego and Milwaukee and here and there, and we got like zip. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. But thank you to everybody who participated, and I want to especially thank Sergeant Jared Turpin for helping me across the street. There was an issue with my being able to cross the street on my own recognizance, so he helped me come across
That's
the street.
not what I heard.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you heard, but, Mr. Turpin will, I was not, that was a different place. I was jaywalking.
Oh, that was a
and-
different
That was
street.
a different street. That was not at the library. So, anyway, so I want to thank everybody again for all the participation, because it wasn't just, one department and one person or 5 people. It was really a city effort, and we had the support of the administration. Tony, thank you. So, being no further business, we will now set a new world's record and adjourn.
What does ACE stand for?